Good afternoon. If you're in any other part of the world, I am your instructor for today. My name is Jane Payumo, and I am from Michigan State University. And I see Chelsea join in. Chelsea, do you have to say something before I start? I've already started.
No, I'm okay, Jane. Sorry about that. The other session was running a little bit over, but people will be rolling in now. Thank you so much for this.
All right. Thank you. Hi, Doc Banji. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you.
All right. So like I said, I am Jane Payumo, and I'm from Michigan State University. I am going to be your instructor for the short course this morning. We are going to have a full pack session, so please bear with me. But if you have any questions and something is not clear, feel free to put them into the Q&A, and we'll try to address some of your questions for this session. So I am the head of the Research Evaluation and Data Analytics team here at Michigan State University, and I have my contact information here. If you want to connect with me, let me just, if you want to connect with me through my social media accounts, please feel free to connect. You can also consult with me or contact me for future collaboration, and feel free to reach out. So I often get questions about my path to data visualization. And after telling my story for the end time, I thought it would be easier to just put my answer into a timeline slide in case you wanted to know. So I started not as a data scientist, but as a molecular plant scientist back in the days, back in the Philippines at the age of 19. And now I'm a research evaluator here at Michigan State University. And as you can tell from my timeline, I went places doing data-related work. And my passion for data visualization continues to increase every day, especially now that I had a group responsible for helping support a data-driven culture and implement an evaluative lens to assess all of the activities, especially the research activities of the College of Agriculture and Natural Resources and MSU AgBio Research, which is the research arm of our college. So my team helped in mapping and reporting the impact of both of these important units at Michigan State University. And our team analyzes a lot of data, from institutional level data to project level data, individual level data, name all kinds of data that are available there, as long as they relate to research and to our college, then we are the point of contact for this type of work. So data visualization, and as a research evaluator, data visualization is one important tool in our toolbox. And as you can see here, I've highlighted here the data visualization. So anything and everything about data visualization, my team and I are going to try. So relating our work with GARD, I am just sharing here the network analysis that we did in support of the antimicrobial research resistance, and collaborating with members from GARD. We were able to use some of this analytics and analysis to support this future network about antimicrobial resistance. And I'm sure that you're very familiar with many of the countries involved in GARD, as well as the research areas. So that analysis and visualization, we tried to put them into the GARD network and identify some of the research gaps that we can fill in for future AMR-related research. So like I tell you, my love for data visualization increases every day. So as you can tell, even in my 2-page resume, I did and incorporate some data visualization here. So I'm hoping that in future, you're also going to be adopting some of your data visualization skills to highlight your activities, your profile, and share it to the rest of the world. But what really is data visualization? And why is it necessary? So as you can see here, and as I define here, data visualization is simply the communication of data, visually or turning raw data into insights that can easily be interpreted by your readers. And I asked some of you in the poll, and you all gave me almost all of the justifications that are very important of why we need data visualization and some of your goals for visualizing your data. You told in the poll that you wanted to be more expressive, you want people to understand your data, you want to communicate some of your complex data sets, to enhance decision-making, highlight areas of improvement, you want to engage your audience, you want to save time, and you want to interpret the results of your research work. And these are all great answers. And thanks again for participating to that poll that I've generated. And they really helped me in terms of designing my slide deck for this short course. So yeah, great answers. So for this short course, we will have 5 learning objectives. So first, I'll help you understand the basic principles and best practices of data visualization. Second, to articulate the do's and don'ts of data visualization. Understand the types of data visualization and when are we going to use them. Fourth, understand the various data visualization tools and resources. And then last but not the least, we're going to visualize and interpret some quantitative data that I've shared with you in advance so that you can take a look at that data set. And then hopefully, if we've got some time, you can use those time to analyze your own data using the tools that I'm going to introduce to you today. So I have important action items for today. So that I told you when you came in, it's going to be a very busy hour. I'm going to provide you additional data visualization overview beyond the definition that I've already provided. Give you some tips, data visualization 101, we'll do that. I'll share with you some resources and tools that I use as a data viz, not really an expert yet, but I'm getting there, especially those that don't need codes. And then we're going to have a small quiz. Hopefully that is fine. And then a little bit of practice. And yes, including Tableau, since I've asked you also in the poll whether you like a quick session on Tableau. So we're going to do that. And then share with you some important readings and videos that are available in the web so that you can take a look. And then we're going to close with some key takeaway. So does that sound good as an introduction? Can you give me a hands up? Are we ready? All right, great. Okie dokie. So I've said many times it is important that we visualize our data, and you also said the same thing. But why is it that if data visualization is important to us as scientists, how come scientific literature is riddled with bad charts and graphs that oftentimes lead to misunderstanding and miscommunication? And why do we see some of these top 10 worst charts that are running all over the internet? So, and why is this happening? Is it because of the issues and challenges of data visualization? And I also asked some of you in one of our polls, what are the challenges that you face when you visualize your data? And as you said in the poll, it could be due to input errors, because of our aim to oversimplify, because we need to visualize data even though it's not needed, or our data is too complex, and there's just so many tools and solutions that are available, and we become so reliant on this form of communication. So these are issues that may need to be fixed as a data analyst or someone who's working on a lot of data set. So let me provide some context and explanation to some of these, and hopefully you get home, no longer being challenged on some of your data set. So let's begin with the type of visualization. So data visualization employs a lot of tools and techniques, from plots, from your statistical graphs, to your information graphics, in order for us to understand the data, and then convey our data concisely. And according to you, you mostly use line graphs, followed by scatter plots, pie charts, and then time series. I didn't check the other graphs that you guys are using, but I did not see any one of you take sunburst. I think one checked the donut plot. Although I did not ask when and why you use some of this chart. So, and you can tell me via the chat, for those of you who answered in the poll, why are you using those type of charts in some of your data set? So in the business world and in our world, in the data analytics world, the applications for data visualizations are commonly referred now as dashboard. And I'm sure that you've heard a dashboard in many places. And the other form is infographics. Infographics is another well-liked form for presenting data. And both forms of data visualization, they can help inform decision-making, which is one of the important goals of data visualization. And by the way, some of the graphics that I'm showing in the previous slide and this slide, these are all some of our sample work. And some of these landed actually in the Office of the President of MSU. So, but these are not sensitive data. So now, assuming that we have the data, what steps do we need to use and generate some of the visualizations that I just shared? Here, I offer a brief guide consisting of the following steps that I personally follow. And these are applicable to you, to all of you who are attending today, and those who are going to be listening in our recorded video. And those who would like to communicate an observation or explain an analysis clearly with tables, with graphs, with charts and diagrams, but keeping in mind that creating a good data visualization is an iterative process. And I want to emphasize that it is really an iterative process. You don't generate a graph and then you forget about it. You have to take a look again your graph, your graphic, and then make sure that it is understandable and it will tick all of the boxes. And you can tick all of the boxes that I'm going to ask you in a little bit. So in the spirit of time, I'm not going to discuss all of the steps, but I'm going to focus on the ones that I've made the boxes green, all of the green boxes. But again, if you have any questions related to the earlier steps that I'm projecting right now, feel free to put them into the Q&A or in the chat box, and we'll try to address them during the session or offline if we didn't have time. So it is important to pick a chart or graph which will really best communicate your message to tell your audience. And the first step for choosing a chart is to determine what that message is, what that message you're trying to deliver. And we heard about your message, your audience yesterday in all of the science communication workshop. So are you trying to show the variables and how do they compare to each other? Or are you trying to show relationship between variables? Are you trying to show patterns of your data? Or are you showing whether your data set is part of a whole, and can that whole be broken down into smaller parts? So picking one of these can help you select a chart that will really best work for you and your data set. And there are so many resources that are available now in the internet, especially the field of data analytics is booming. And this is one of the important resources that I really carefully look at every day when I generate a data visualization. I actually have a printout of this decision tree with me. So every time I have a task, then I will take a look and what type of graphic is really fitted for a specific data set. And I'm going to enumerate other resources and tools also for you so that you can take a look later on. But let's try to dissect this decision tree so that it's going to be more informative for you. So for this one, are you showing change over time in your data set? Yes or no? Then are there multiple data sets that you're working on? Are you interested whether did they make up a whole? Then obviously you have to choose a pie chart, right? If not, if it's not part of whole, then you use a line chart. Do you want to compare and contrast categories? So try to go over the green and red questions, yes or no, and then you choose a chart. Or are you interested in revealing trends in a quantitative data set? And in your paper, you're interested in showing the relationship between your X and then your Y axis. If yes, then use a scatter plot. And maybe that makes sense now that many of you chose the scatter plot in our poll. Or do you want to highlight just a single measure? And maybe you don't need to visualize at all and just use a simple statistic such as count. So, like I said, there's so many data visualization tools because of the increasing popularity of data analytics. And I don't know whether one of our audience here in their future career will be a data analyst like me. There are many available tools, from licensed desktop tools to freely available tools, open web-based tools in the internet. And I have here a listing of many of data visualization tools that I personally use, and I've added here learning resources for you to check. So from Excel, which you guys are very familiar with based on the poll, and to Tableau. And I've also listed here, if you're interested in cleaning your data, use OpenRefine, the Google Charts, the Google Studio, Flourish, Power BI, and Smartsheet. So these are very important data visualization tools for me and for many of our work. And if you are interested in challenging yourself and you want to code, you can try R, of course, Python. And I think there's a session on R for the global GARD forum. So I hope you can attend or at least listen in to that recorded session. So other tools, Infogram, Superchart, there's also Canva, and then Easily. Easily is the one that I used in making my two-page resume. So I use social media quite a bit. And every time I post something related to data visualization, I tell you, I will receive a lot of emails from all of these software providers for me to give it a try and then convince our leadership here whether that data visualization makes sense. But for many of you, I see that many of those who are attending here, academicians, students, I'm going to share you how to get these resources for free without a license. Okay, so when you are ready to generate your charts and you have the data visualization software, here are some tips and do's and don'ts for you. And let's start with the do's. First, keep it simple. And we heard the same message in the science communication workshop yesterday. And remember the KISS principle. I'm sure that you guys are familiar with it. Keep it simple, stupid. And do not overemphasize. You also need to pay attention to your colors. And please, no more rainbows. We need to help those, especially those with color blindness. And check your intention. Are you going to present the visualization or are you going to distribute the visualization? Presented, then if it's going to be just presented, you need to focus on your big conclusion, just key highlights, and simplified as possible to accurately present the information. If it's going to be distributed, then you have more. That means you have a page or maybe more than a page. So you can provide more context, more key highlights, and you can connect your story and additional context of your data and maybe it become more complex. So I'm going to show you what's the difference between a presented versus distributed, but I'm sure you've already have an idea what I'm speaking about. And then the last thing is understandability. You need to check whether can you trace your data visualization to your data analysis, to your data source. And is your data source credible enough? And then can you be responsible if someone follow up on the data set or the data visualization that you created? And when they follow up and they ask for raw data, can you provide that raw data to them, assuming it's not sensitive information? So are your messages linked? That's what number 4 is all about. Then the don'ts. First, of course, we should not misrepresent. Again, do not overload your data visualization with information. Do not fix data that is already bad. Don't do that. And then the last one, I shared you the decision tree that we always need to look at. Visualization methods are not the same. Okay, I'm sure that with some examples, you will have a clearer picture of what Jane is talking about. So let's go over some examples. So simple storytelling, like I said, is sufficient. It's always key to any good visualization. And if you see a VIS, so we call it VIS for short, for visualization, and you don't know the message in 5 seconds, then in my opinion, it hasn't done a good job. So it's a very similar message from one of our speakers yesterday when she said, remember the $5 footlong? If you didn't get the $5 footlong message that was mentioned in the science communication workshop, then it's also the same for your data visual. If someone didn't get it in 5 seconds, then you didn't do a good job. So same thing. And using too much data, your target audience need to be able to look at your graphic and find what they are looking for without clutter. So like this one, if the graphic is too busy, it can be hard to find the main points. So keep it simple and narrow the focus of each graph. And then this one, again, no more rainbows if possible, and let us give our data the justice that it deserves. Stop using rainbow maps, and I don't know whether our GIS folks here are here. So yes, please stop using rainbow maps because rainbow color maps are distorting our data and misleading our users. And then this is the intent that I mentioned. If you're going to present or you're going to distribute, when you present, just some highlights, key conclusions, and then for distributed, then you can put more information in your visualization. And then this one, I understand that we may have stakeholders that have a hard time letting go of pie charts. I rarely use pie charts in many of my work, but I still do because people like pie charts a lot. But what I can tell you is we only use pie charts when we are going to show comparison for one point in time. So I encourage you hardly not to use pie chart in a time series analysis that is similar to what is being shown right now. And also, if we can stick to 5 slices or less, including the other category, when we group them, then that is more ideal. So additional readings and videos for you to check. And these are very helpful for me. The 4th one especially is a collection of everything. They've curated this and they've collected all of the data visualization websites that are available. So please check that one out. So I can pause for a minute. I've been talking a lot, and then we can review some of the questions that are in the Q&A. And how are we going to do this, Chelsea? Should I just read the question and then unshare the slide, or?
You're welcome to do either one. If you have access to the questions, you can read it, or I can help you read it, whatever you'd like.
Okay, I think I can just minimize my screen here and then go to HOVA. All right, so one of the questions here is, what is the most recommended data visualization technique for communicating to non-scientific audience? So like I said, when I projected the decision tree, it depends on your research question or your question, and then at the same time, your data context. And there is no specific a chart that I would recommend, because I myself will have to go through each of those yes, no, and then I will decide what is the best chart or graphic that would represent the analytics that I did. So to answer that question, I would say it depends. And then I think the other question is the same. How do we decide data visualization technique? Again, it depends. And then the other question is, what process would you use to transform raw data into a visualization? So I've given you the simple guide that I follow myself, beginning with really understanding what's the question, and then understanding the data and making sure that we can proceed to the next steps. So please take a look at that guide, and that is going to be the answer to that question in terms of the steps. Okay, and then the last one, the easiest way of data acquisition, I'm going to discuss that. I think I've already presented some resources. So there are databases that we use in our work, that we can connect to that database real time using application programming interface. So that's one way of acquiring data real time. But there are also, if you are just interested in using a data set from somewhere, I think I put Kaggle as one of the resources there. And you can take a look whether some of the data sets there feed some of your needs. And then, of course, there are other databases that you can, download some of their data set if they don't have an API connection. So I hope I answered that question. So any more questions from the group? I guess none. All right, so I'm gonna go back to the slide, and then, so now I'm gonna put you to work, and we're gonna do this exercise together. So I'm gonna be included as a student here, so it's not just gonna be you. All right, but for those of you who would like to see the form in their computer, feel free to go to the site. I think I've also provided this in our Q&A or in the chat. But if not, then we can just go over the form using my slide here, because I've also put it here. So, oh, sorry, what is that? Okay, there you go. Put it here. All right. So our exercise, our task for a few minutes is to, based on what I have discussed with you, the do's, the don'ts, the principle, the steps, the decision tree, you help me decide what should I choose here, and whether should I answer yes or no, and whether this graphic or charts are shareable or understandable. Okay, first one. This visualization on annual use compared to your neighborhood. And this is a line chart. It is just presented differently. Is it understandable or shareable? So if it's a yes, you just give me a thumbs up. For those of you who have access to the form and would like to put in their answers, put them into the web form. Any answers? Visualization number one, is it shareable or understandable? I guess I'll just give the answers to all of you so that we can spend, okay. So John Concepcion said it is a yes. So let's answer yes. Oh, sorry. Visualization number 2, it's a tree map. Based on what we've learned, if you are given this chart, are you gonna share it? Or do you understand what this graph means? Give me a yes by showing your thumbs up. I guess no, right? Those are too difficult for my eyes to see. And then the third one, this is a spatial map. Are we able to understand it? Or are we going to share it if in case we're asked to share? So John said thumbs down. So yeah, I agree with you. I'm not going to share this. And then visualization number 4, this is the table that made it to the top 10 worst charts. So I guess it's automatic that we choose no for this. And I hope you agree with me. And then the last one is a bar chart. And I also remember that this is also one of the top 10 worst charts ever created by one of our scientists. Okay, so John said no. Then I'm going to submit so that the system is going to record our answers. So yeah, so I'm hoping that some of those initial tips that I gave you, you're also going to use for your work. And some of the guides that I shared with you, you're going to use for your future data visualization. Okay, so next exercise is we're going to deal about a little bit of Excel and then some data updates. If you want to share your Excel table into PowerPoint, and then your data is going to update automatically. Have you done this type of work? Can you give me a thumbs up? Because if yes, then we don't need to cover. I did see that only half of you uses a pivot table in Excel. So I thought, you know, for the benefit of the other half, we can do. So Miriam gave me, what is that icon? Oh, thumbs. So thumbs down means you don't want us to continue? Let me see if
Then to continue, I think it just means that she also has not used it.
Oh, okay. All right. So if you haven't used a pivot table in Excel, it's a very useful tool for your initial data visualization. And I'm going to show you how. For those of you who are already familiar with using pivot tables in Excel, then just listen in. And if you have any questions, just put them into the Q&A. So we're going to go over pivot table and then use the camera function if you're not familiar with it. So I've also enumerated all of the steps in the PowerPoint. And if I'm not mistaken, this PowerPoint is going to be shared to everybody. So if not, then you can always email me and ask for a PDF copy. Okay, so this is the table that we're going to work on in Excel. So this is I name it camera file in a Google Drive. And the steps that we need to do is we need to open Excel and then open the file. We'll convert the range of the cells into a table. And we're going to insert the table. Insert it as a data model, name the sheet as pivot, and then we're going to generate the sum of the December expenses, and then we're going to visualize the rent expenses. So I'm going to shift switch my screen right now from PowerPoint to Excel so that we can do this exercise. Okay, so where is that file that I have? All right. So this is the file that I'm talking about. And for those of you, I shared a link to all of the files that I am presenting today in a Google Drive. So you should be able to access all of those if you are interested in doing the exercise with me or at a later period. So the task is, we have, let me just make this bigger so that you get to see. So assuming you have a similar data set, or maybe we'll just think about this camera file. So as you can see, this range of cells is not presented as a table. So to convert this into a table, you can always use the, where is my table function here? I can see. Power pivot, all right, data. Because I would just normally Control T, and then it will be as a table. Sorry, I couldn't find my icon for the table. So there you go. So now it is a table. So now since it's already a table, then that means we can now insert and summarize this data set using a pivot table. Remember, you cannot create a pivot table if the cells are just coming as a range. So I already have one here that I did earlier before our session, but I can do another one. So by insert, pivot table, and then from table range, and then new worksheet, and then I'm going to add this to the data model. And then I'm going to name it pivot here. And then what is our task? We'll do all of the items here so that we get to see all of the variables that are presented in our data set. And then I want to show all of the expenses for various months. Then I'm going to put everything here as my values. So just keep on dragging here all of the column fields, and then we can fix it later on. Have to be very fast. We only have 20 minutes for Tableau. There we go. And then this one, you can rearrange the columns so that they come in sequence, all of the months. But that should be fine for now for illustration purposes. And then we are interested in the expenses for rent. So I want to create another pivot table, a copy of that here. So see, you just copy and paste. You don't need to create another pivot table. If you're going to be creating a lot of pivot table, you can just separate it with another column and then highlight that. And then this, I'm going to put as a filter. I want to use and just show the rent and then the expenses for rent. We don't know yet. We can do the, is that? See the grand totals. I want to turn it on so that we get to see the total. So the totals is already 15 here. And then if we want to visualize this using the pivot, we just go here. And then this is what I was saying earlier, that if Excel knows how your data behaves, it will recommend automatically a chart for you. And then you can generate a visual for this data set. And then if you want to create another one, you just want to copy this one here. And then create another visualization for another category, say for commissions, and then here. And then your visual also, if you're interested in moving to the next step of creating a dashboard or putting it in PowerPoint, then you can just filter this and then you should be able to visualize while you are presenting. Okay, and then the next step that I want to share with you is about the camera function. So in your file, you go to your options, you go to your customized ribbon, you go to your popular all commands, and then you find the camera. Here, it should be somewhere here, and then either you create a new tab or you create a new group, or you put it in existing tabs as long as these tabs are still not full. So since I already have this in my in one of my tabs, and I don't need to do that, and I'm hoping that you can do the same on your end. All right, so let's go back to the data set. So what I wanted to show you is I want to select few tables that I would like to put in PowerPoint, and then click my camera. So now the camera just took a picture of all of the cells that I need to put into PowerPoint. Then I'm going to stop share my Excel right now and go back to my to our PowerPoint here so that I can insert that data and replace this one. And then I want to go to paste, paste special, paste link, and then Microsoft Excel worksheet object. So now you have your file that we took a picture. And then every time you changes your data,
I can't see your screen anymore. I'm not sure if you know that.
My share screen. Okay, so I pasted this table that I took a picture using the camera function in Excel. Okay, so let me go back to my Excel. And if I change, say, when you update your data, take a look.
We can't see your Excel. It's like, I think your presenter mode on PowerPoint.
No, I'm not sharing my Excel right now. What I wanted you to see is now I am changing the data set in Excel in the background. So if, for example, the cost of goods sold here, you've changed your data set because you have a new data that come in. And then this 15,000 became 20,000 or 2,000. So when you change your data in Excel, it automatically updates in PowerPoint without having to do anything. So that is the function of the camera feature in your Excel. So that's very helpful for me, especially if I need to just, show a little table and then I don't need to copy and paste again into PowerPoint. So I hope that you guys can also take advantage of that hidden trick in Excel. Okay, so the next thing for us is we are going to do some Tableau visualization, but since we only have 14 minutes, so I think what we can do is we'll go over the task, and then I'll just introduce to you how are we going to upload the data, analyze it very quickly. But before I do that, I would like to share first, since I mentioned to you that for some of you, you can get, and Tableau is very popular. For some of you who are going to find your next job in the future, some of the companies are looking for a Tableau skill. So I'm going to share my screen again. Let me see, where is mine? Sorry about that. There you go. So for those of you who are teaching or doing non-commercial activities or research purposes, you can get an academic license. So that's going to be for free, and it's renewable every year. You just need to sign up and then justify that you're doing it for research or you're doing it for teaching. For many of you who are attending and who are students, you can also get Tableau license for free as a student. So you just sign up, create an account, and then get it for free. And then these are the other tools that I've shared with you earlier: Flourish, Power BI, and this is the dashboard that I created for Smartsheet. And then this is where I created my resume. And then some other thing where the file is located if you want to check. And then our instructions for Tableau, we're going to go through that one very quickly. And then here are the answer sheets or the steps on how you can upload the data and then analyze all of the variables. Okay, so, and I don't know if many of you already have a Tableau account, and this can probably take time. So if you are interested in learning Tableau, first thing to do is you need to create an account with Tableau. And if you already have a software, then no need to download. But if you do not have a software, then please create an account and we can use Tableau Public for this exercise. And then download the sample file that I shared with you. And then we're going to use the guide that I've shared with you earlier and then answer all of these questions. But since we only have 11 minutes, I'm going to give you a walkthrough, and then you can follow later after the session. Does that sound good? Thumbs up? Okay, awesome. Hold on, I'm going to stop share that one. Share another screen again. And this is my Tableau. And I'm using a Tableau desktop version for non-academic purposes. So I get this license for free. So I believe the license for a Tableau is about $2,000 per year. So I really encourage you, if you really want to use Tableau for your own work, fill up that form for non-commercial purposes and then download. So as you can see, I have a lot of things going on here. But our task for today is we're going to download that file that I share with you here, and then load the sample animal diversity data. So this diversity data, I got it from the Food and Agriculture Organization and one of their databases there. So I've loaded the data. As you can see, it automatically identifies the type of data that I have in that file. But if I don't want to use that file, I just remove it. And then I can put it back. Okay. And then Tableau has its own data interpreter, which also helps in cleaning. If I have some complex data set, I will prepare it first using Tableau Prep. And we don't have enough time to do that one today, but I put it in one of your resources. So check that one out. And then I'll just check the data interpreter just in case, there are missing cells, missing rows that I don't need to include. So now the file that you can see from Excel is now uploaded into Tableau. So to begin the analysis for this one, I want to create a worksheet. And then is that countries? So one of the question is how many countries that animal diversity data set has. And then I need to name that tab as country. So that one I did. So for those of you who didn't follow yet, you just click the new worksheet here and then name it country. So there's a rename button here. All right. So as you can see here, and I have the explanation also in the Word document if you're interested. You notice here that this variables, so all of the variables in your data set have already been interpreted. But you notice that some of the variables are blue, some of the variables are green. So in the Tableau world, the blue means dimension, which means that these are categorical data. So they come as a text in your data set. The green ones are numerical data, and they are called measure. And that means that you can always analyze it right away. So we're interested in the number of countries, and let us see whether we can interpret it right away. So country is blue here. So that means that Tableau is considering it as a dimension. So that means I need to convert it into a measure so that I can do my basic statistics and then count the number of countries. So now I'm going to convert it to a measure. And then now after converting that into a measure, it moved to the green colored variables. So for me to do the basic stat and then count number of countries that are in my data set, I can drag and drop this variable into a row or into a column. So I'll just do it as a row. And then automatically it generated a visualization for me. But remember, in our decision tree, if we're only highlighting a single measure and it's only a statistic, then we don't need to visualize, right? We're not comparing anything. We're not understanding trends. So in the right area of Tableau here, you can see there's a table. So let's present it as a table. So there are 61 countries represented in that data set. Then if we're interested in learning what are these countries that have submitted the animal diversity set into FAO, then we can also do that. And then let's add some more information. So I have the countries. That's one of the tasks. I want to know what are the specific countries here. You can duplicate this worksheet. And then now it's named as countries 2. And then since now my country is acting as a measure, I need to move it back to a dimension so that it will be interpreted by Tableau as a categorical variable. So I want to put it back to dimension so that my country becomes blue variable now. And then I want to know the details. I put it to rows. And then now you have all of the listing of all of the countries. And you can also use this now to have a total count. You go to analysis, you go to totals, and then show column grand totals. And then you also have the 61 here. So my purpose of showing you the pivot table earlier, although some of you already know that. So some of the features of Excel are adapted in Tableau. So this is very similar to your pivot table. Okay. So the next question is, Chelsea, would you mind reading the next question so that I don't have to go back and forth, if that is okay?
Yeah, sure.
And let me just, maybe it's going to be faster here. Sorry.
So I think the next one will be the easiest way to have data acquisition.
Oh, no, the question. Oh, I thought the task that we have here for the data visualization. But anyway,
I do not have that up because my computer cannot handle all that.
Oh, okay, all right, sounds good. Don't worry about it. So the other question, if I remember, is what are the number of animals that are, I believe, in this data set, if I'm not mistaken. So, okay, yeah, I think the number of animal species. So again, we create another worksheet. So again, very similar to what I've illustrated to you using a pivot table. Your species is again blue. For us to be able to count it, we convert it to measure. And then put it here again, right? We don't need to visualize again because it's only a single measure. We convert it as a table. So there are 26 animal species in our set. And then if we want to know the details, we duplicate and then put back this species. Where is my species here? Into a dimension and then put here so that we know the details, okay? And then now, how can we use a Tableau also for doing spatial mapping, right? So we already have the data, the countries here. We duplicate it again. And then we would like to use this map that is already available to us. It's default, so that we don't need to do extra work. We just click. And then if we want to identify the countries, we can add the name of the country as part of your label. And then animal species, if we are interested in adding the count, then we convert it back again to the measure and then put it as a label too. Then now you have your country and then the number of animal species. And as you notice here, Tableau automatically detect whether you need to do the unique count. And then last thing that I want to show, you're interested in converting it into a dashboard. We can. So there is a dashboard already available here that all of the data set or questions that we have addressed, we can put it in a dashboard and then use the tiled function here so that it automatically adjusts in terms of the spacing. So we have 6 to 1, you just drag and drop there. Animal species, drag it there too. And then you have the countries. And then you just adjust here with this.
I just wanted to know that you might want to wrap up because it's already 11:30.
Yes. So that is how we use Tableau. And I apologize that we didn't have a lot of time. So key takeaways, just 1 minute. All right. Let's go to. So let's go to the closing. So thanks again for participating. And maybe we can do it in a more comprehensive session with me. But key takeaway, your data tells your story. And your choice of visualization can either make your storytelling exciting or downright dull and no one can understand. A visualization should speak for itself. And it is our job as an analyst to ensure that our data is meaningful and easy to interpret. So above all else, like science communication, data visualization is also communication. So that's for this session. And I hope that you've enjoyed our session for today. And if you have any questions, like I said, feel free to reach out to me. And I will see you again next time.
Dr. Payomo, I just want to express our gratitude and thanks to you for your time. We are grateful. Thank you so much for a great presentation.
All right. See you guys.
Thank you.
Bye for now.
Bye for now.